Hello and welcome to Out of Town with Old Josh. This episode's just a description of what I'm taking with me on the Cape to Cape walk, which I'm hoping to do soon if this virus doesn't get totally out of control. And basically it's what I walked the 800 kilometres from Bannister to Albany of the Bibbulmun track last year. So here we've got the pack. At the moment it's weighing in just over 9 kilos, pretty much everything except water. So starting off at the top, the quickest thing, handiest thing to get hold of is my seat pad for when I stop for coffee breaks, lunch, and then delving into the pack, which is the Z-Packs Arcall, weighs in with the various little bottle holders and belt packs I've got at about 800 grams. So the first thing is my Z-Packs Verdis jacket, which just sits on top. You never know when you're going to need a rain jacket. I also keep bits and pieces for my hat, like the sun shield and the little insect mesh that goes around the front. I think can't get masks, so it's the next best thing. Next thing I've got is gas. Normally I would have a small gas bottle that fits inside the jet bottle, which is always at the side of the pack, so I can access it quickly for coffee breaks. But I find these big ones last far longer. The small ones only do me about 3 days. Then I have my Montbell puffer jacket. This is the 800 Loft jacket. Very light, very warm, exceptionally warm. Too warm sometimes. It's really handy to sleep in on some of those cold nights, especially down around Donnelly River. I think this is a new addition. I haven't used it yet, but I met a lovely lady who told me her solution for cold nights, and that is to get a single wall bottle, not insulated, not a thermos type. But this one's just single wall stainless steel with a nice sealing top. You fill it with hot water at night, bedtime. Stick it inside a sock and stick it down inside your sleeping bag, and I believe it's going to be very warm. I'm looking forward to that. Next is just a Ziploc that I put my rubbish bag in. I just use those little bin liners, and any opportunity I find a rubbish bin, out they go, but that stays on top, or very close to on top. Next thing I have is a warm, it's not a fleece, it's actually, and it's in the stuff sack that the Z-Packs Classic sleeping bag comes in. You can get it out, but getting it back's hard. So I use it for clothes, and sometimes I even pack it on top. So, and that's just a little Mac pack. I think it's called a Nitro, this one. It is exceptionally light, but it's very warm. The only thing is, it sticks to everything Velcro, which is a bit of a nuisance, but it's handy because it has a little thumb attachment so you can keep your hands on. It comes down over your hands, so keep your hands warm when you're walking with your sticks. The other thing that was in there is my little night light. Keep that handy, and that's a handy light because it actually, you can wear it just around your neck. You don't have to have it on your head. I find night hiking, you can get a bit of a headache if it's permanently wrapped around your forehead. The other thing that goes in outside the dry sack is just toothbrush, toothpaste, interdental sticks, and I use the Seas to Summit Wilderness Wash because that even works in salt water if you want to have a bit of a bath in the ocean. Then there's my first aid kit. Probably far too much stuff in here, but the heaviest part of it is actually the snake bandage. That weighs 88 grams just on its own. But it has to be that size in order to do a whole limb, especially if you get a bite on the leg. You have to wrap the whole leg. So anyway, and there's others. There's all sorts of stuff in there. Fix-a-mole if you ever get blisters. I've luckily never had one since I've been wearing ultra trail runners. But I carry it just in case. And then there's the toiletries bag. Actually, I have toilet paper. Oh, look at that! Wow. So as well as the toilet paper, I carry a little It was a Specsavers little spray, the stuff for cleaning your glasses. When it ran out, I flushed it out very well, and find it works very well instead of wet ones. So you can just fold a couple of sheets of toilet paper, spray it on, get them nice and damp, and yeah, that works well. But make sure you get all the eyeglass cleaning stuff off first. Then there's the trowel, Cedar Summit trowel, which in the good old days, before Apple sued them, I think, was called the iPood. I also got a little sewing kit in there, which I found handy for darning socks. The other thing I carry is one of those mini scrubber wash bags. I use it as a dry bag, but I also use it. It was pretty handy on that section from Northcliffe down to Walpole, because there's really no access to, well, there's no buildings on the way apart from the shelters. So I managed to wash a few of my clothes in that, and it was certainly wet enough down there that the tanks were never going to run out of water. And that's a new wilderness wash. I obviously don't take it all with me. I won't need it on the Cape to Cape. I'll only need what's left in that other one. You only need a few drops. And the next down is my food bag. I'll probably go through that separately, but at the moment it weighs about 3 kilos, and there's probably 8 days worth of big meals in there. I haven't got the breakfast in yet, but certainly I can open it now, I suppose. The backcountry meals, which I've actually come to quite like. So, got backcountry cuisine, one serve classic beef curry. There's 8 meals in there. They're all different. Also got things like John West. I think that's tuna. This one. Some of them are salmon, but this one's with additional iron, roasted capsicum, and 3 beans. I've got just black beans on their own. They're very handy, these bean mixes. They go quite nicely with some of the meals. And anyway, I've got some soups in there, some miso soups, but I'll have a lot more stuff in there. A few chocolate bars, which I really got to like, especially the big Cadbury ones. Right, so that's everything on top of the dry sack, and then in the dry sack, which is actually a Z-Pack, it's called the aeroplane bag, because when you are travelling, if you're flying, you can actually put your whole pack inside here. And this is just the stuff I want to keep dry. These are just stuff sacks, they're not dry bags. So in there I've got probably way too many socks. I don't know how many pairs of socks I want to. That's a liner, 2 pairs of hiking socks. These are the ones I actually prefer. The liners are Ingenie, they're the toe socks. Don't wear terribly well, but they're certainly very comfortable. Then I've got my sleeping gear, which is actually quite old. It's Mountain Designs. It's when I did the Cape to Cape back in 2009. So there's a top there, and they're basically thermals. So undies, and there's thermal bottoms. They're very lightweight and they're exceptionally warm. And yeah, I've not been able to find. Well, Mountain Designs no longer have their shop in Perth. I don't know if it's available. The undies I use now are called Airism. They're from Uniqlo, and they're super lightweight. They dry very quickly, and yeah, so I've got a few pairs of those. And then I've got possum down socks, and I have 2 pairs of these. So one I sleep in, and one I just use around camp with my little camp shoes. And that's basically it in that bag. What else we got in here? Oh, then I've got my pillow. It's a little Cedar Summit Aeris pillow, weighs next to nothing. And it's exceptionally comfortable. I wouldn't go without a pillow. And then I've got my mattress, which is a Nemo Tensor insulated, and the R value on this is somewhere around 3.7, I believe, although they don't state it on it, but I I did see a video online on YouTube that actually had all the RWs and trials of all the different mats, and that one's exceptional. And then what else we got? Because my Zpacks Classic sleeping bag doesn't have a hood, I've got a Goose Feet Gear hood. So Goose Feet Gear makes some really nice stuff. I've also got the little booties. Look like a real baddie in it, but trust me, it is warm. And what else have we got down there? Yep, and these are the Goose Feet Gear booties. And these go on over those socks if it's very cold. And again, exceptionally light and very, very warm, because I do suffer with cold feet, so I found those real bonus. And then, last but not least, or it's not really last, is the sling bag. Again, very light. This comes in under 400 grams. It's very warm. It's a zip one. It's not a quilt. It's actually a zipped bag, and it's just called the Classic bag. And can't remember what the actual rating. I think it's 30-degree Fahrenheit bag, so it's good to like 0 in Celsius. But I found that adequate, especially if I'm keeping my puffer jacket on. And, at the very bottom of that bag is for in town. I just got a pair of shorts and a very light t-shirt that I can wear and go and wash everything else. And this is the liner. This is the Zpacks airplane bag, which I use as a dry sack liner. And that's the handle when you've got the whole bag inside. And I don't think there's anything else in there. Oh, yeah. I've got the old insoles. These are the super feet that go inside my Ultras. They're pretty well worn out, those. Anyway. On the outside I've got my Helinox umbrella, and the umbrella I can actually use hands-free with the addition of these little Velcro clips I made up, and it just sits in my little drink bottle holder, and it's actually just the right size then, so I can still use my walking poles. Also on that same strap, the left-hand shoulder strap, I've got just a little hand wash. This one we actually got in Malaysia. And on the other side, in little sacks, carry sack, is my cooking arrangements. And in there I keep 2 cups, the Jetboil, and in there I've got a pair of chopsticks. Keep my coffee in a little Ziploc, and Sea to Summit titanium spoon, and the lighter, because I don't use the Jetboil burner, it's too heavy. Just use a little, that's the holder for when I've got the small canister on. But I just use the BRS 3000. I did have to modify it slightly to fit the Jetboil, because it's actually a slightly bigger diameter than the Jetboil is. Oops. So yeah, when I get that out, that just screws onto the tank, and when the bottom's in, which is my measuring cup, it just sits in there like so. You still get the benefit of the windbreak that the Jetboil provides, and you get the advantage that this thing only weighs 28 grams, costs about $18 US, and yeah, it's just about 100 grams, which doesn't seem much, but it's at least 100 grams lighter than the Jetboil burner. So, and it seems to be very reliable. I've had no problems at all with it. Love it. So that's that. We'll put all that down there out the way. And then I've just got two of the Cedar Summit cups. I use one when I get to camp, or even when I'm just stopping for a coffee break. I just use one just for the coffee. But in camp, I use both. I fill one up with soup, one with coffee or tea, and I actually use the backcountry packaging as it's intended as the cup as well. So you just throw it away. You don't have to worry about using a plate. I have my KTI security alert, personal locator beacon, which you have to register every year, or they ask you to reconfirm it every year. Haven't used it yet, probably should have when I fell down on Mount Cook and broke my leg, but I didn't know I'd done that, so you learn about these things. Anyway, that's always there and handy. This one is just a little glass case, which I find really, because I need glasses to read the maps and whatever, so I keep my glass in there. When I'm walking, I've just got my sunglasses on, which is good enough. And then in the pouches I have water bottles. I have two of these and my filter, which is in the front pouch. And the front pouch here have my Katadyn Be-Free filter. This is a new one because the one I had on the bib truck I'd actually had for about 5 years, and it was all starting to go black with mould around here, so I thought probably time for a new one. And the little pouch that you collect the water in had gone a funny colour too, so I thought it was worth investing in a new one of those. So I carry this, which is 0.6 litres. These are 750ml, so I have two of those 750ml because they come with a nice pop-top Coolidge. And just fill those up from here. So I can, 2 litres I find is enough for a day anyway. My gloves I use just to keep the sun off. Being a melanoma survivor, you don't want to risk anymore. My Finchlate gloves for cold days. Hardly ever need them, but it's normally at night when you're in your tent. Then I got my camp booties. These go on over those possum down socks. Possum down socks come from New Zealand, by the way. They're very good. And these are my camp shoes. Again, incredibly light, they only weigh, but they're quite strong. The base is strong. They're made of Dyneema and some sort of rubber stuff. And they just clip on around the front of your ankle. You cinch it down with these 2 little tie cords, and away you go. I know people wear all sorts of Crocs. Anyway, they're light, and that's why I take them. Keep a little glitz cloth in there. This is just for drying the base of the tent if it's been wet and covered in sand. And that's the Z-Pax Duplex. Very light tent, 2-person tent. It's in there. Doesn't need a ground sheet, which is pretty cool. And these are some of the bags I use inside my Ziploc bag. It's just rubbish bags, so they're kind of big actually. And basically that's it in there, and then in the little waist pouches on the hip belt, tissues. The watch I wear when I go hiking is just a little mechanical, have to wind it up watch. I do carry an emergency bag, one of those Kathmandu, just a foil emergency bag. Don't know that I'll ever need it, but you never know, you might come across someone that does, so I don't mind carrying it, and I might need it myself. Then there's my little Dirty Girl gaiters. They for the ultras to keep the sand and stones out. Excuse the pattern on them, but they were what was available. My buff. I carry a couple of buffs. I normally wear one around the neck, and at night I find they're really good to keep your neck warm. Then I have an emergency light. You never know. This one's fully rechargeable, the little bindle. And then I've got my 8 tent stakes there. They're just the little in fact there's 9 now, because I've actually found one at one of the shelters very similar to the ones I've got. Of course they're all stuck together. Yeah, those are the Z-Packs, and they're an aluminium, and they seem to grip pretty well. I spent, I don't know, about, on the big trek about 12 nights in the tent. I was very lucky. I had had 22 nights with no one else in the shelters at all, so I was actually quite, I wasn't going to say I was lonely, but I got used to being on my own. Also carry just a little Gerber multi-tool. I know most people just go with a little knife, but I found that so handy. Not for me, but I've mended a couple of people's sleeping bags where the zips stop zipping, and you can just cinch it down with these, and so never know when you might need that. And a spare lighter, because one thing I've found, if a lighter gets wet, which that little blue one did, it takes forever for the flint to dry out. And the only other thing, and I've not actually used it yet, is a stick pick. This fits on the end of your hiking pole, and you can use it as a selfie stick. Haven't used it, but I will do. And, yeah, that's made in America. You just tell him which stick you've got, or send him a picture of your stick, and he'll work out what diameter stick pick you'll need. Pretty handy little gadget. Yeah, of course the 2 hiking poles, I use the Z-Packs ones, these carbon, because you need these for your tent. They actually are the, when they're set to 120, I think it is, they become your tent poles. And so you need 2 of those and 8 stakes. The other things I do take is maps, and these will be for the Cape to Cape. I've actually had these maps for, I forgot what year they were. I think they're around about 2007, 2008. Anyway, I also have the Guthooks app on my phone, and something I never go without is Vegemite. The Bibbulmun track is actually 3 tubes of that, or for me it was. And the other thing I carry, paper towels. I just rip off however many days I'm going to need. That's how many paper towels I rip off. I found one works, and I only use it for the main meal, the main dinner. And yeah, so that's basically it. That's what I take. Well, thanks for watching, and got any questions, just ask. Sorry about the chop off there, but my video editing skills are not that great. Anyway, this is the tent set up as it was on at least 12 of the campsites, and of course the whole way down Cape to Cape I'll be using just the tent if I don't chicken out and stay in some nice resort en route. And the picture coming up is just typical of what's in my food bag. So anyway, many thanks for watching. See you later.